Hello, my name is Emma Mikkelson, and I am a junior, obviously, and the teacher I chose to honor today is Mr. Podgorski. This is my second year having him as my choir teacher, and I honestly don't ever want to have another choir teacher because he's the best one around. Mr. P, thank you for all of the lessons you've taught me, not just singing, but learning how to be confident. You pushed me farther than I thought possible and have made me a greater singer and performer. I always strive to make you proud and put a smile on your face. You believe in me, and that has made me believe in myself, so thank you so much. I'm glad that you show all of you. You don't hide parts of yourself. We students see shady P, teacher P, frustrated P, even though you're normally just frustrated at the situation and not us, stressed P, crying P, extremely happy P, and I think you get the point. If I'm ever having a bad day or dealing with something, I know I can turn to you and just vent to you, and you'll listen and give your advice on that. You've seen me at my worst and my best, and everything in between. You've helped me through a lot, whether you knew it or not, by just being yourself. Coming into choir every day and seeing you smiling because we made a funny joke, we finally got the chord right, or just because you're filled with so much joy, makes me have a brighter day. Well, that and when you tried to make up dances or do your hop skip move that you thought you were doing so well when you were in show choir. Whenever I'm having a bad day, I will walk out of choir in a better attitude than when I went in. Being in show choir and having you as my teacher has changed my life for the better. You make sure each and every one of your students feels loved and appreciated. When you told Connection we are sometimes the only reason you get out of bed and come to work, that made my heart happy, because the only reason I get out of bed sometimes is because I know I'll be able to see you, and our days are limited. You've pointed out things in me I didn't even know about myself, like that I can make my voice sound princess-like and hit super high notes I didn't think I could hit. You have helped me to gain confidence in who I am, and I can't thank you enough for that. Thank you, Mr. P, for giving me confidence, for believing in me when I didn't, for giving me opportunities other people wouldn't have, for making your classroom a safe place where I can share things people wouldn't even guess about me, for being a light, for showing love to each and every one of us, for giving up your time, for being almost like a second dad, for making me laugh so hard I cry, and when I'm crying super hard, you can always make me laugh. You're one of a kind, Mr. P, and I'm glad I've known you for the long time I have. I'm excited to see what next year brings and for the amazing show you'll put together. Plus, I get to double the P since I'm in 2 choirs. Woohoo! Love you, PE.
Hi, my name is Shyne Liwanag, and I am a junior. The person I am honoring tonight is a choir director at Creston Middle School and also here at Warren. She has been my choir director from 7th grade until my freshman year in high school. This one's for you, Miss Sermershein. Throughout these years, you've taught me many lessons that contributed to who I am today. For example, since 7th grade, you've taught your students to have their backs away from the back of the chair, shoulders back, ribcage lifted, hands on your knees, and feet flat on the floor. You've also taken a huge role in helping to push me out of my comfort zone, which I'll always be grateful for because it's also helped me with my growing confidence. From the specialty dances that you made available for us, like dances to songs like "Play the funky music, white boy, play the funky music right," you showed me one of my biggest passions today, which is dancing and performing. Then at the end of 8th grade, you personally asked me if I was interested in what is called the Spirit Show Choir, which I could do once I was in high school. Of course, I really wasn't sure what I was getting into, but I knew it involved dancing and singing, so I was already interested. Once freshman year did begin, I was introduced to this whole new world that I did not know would soon become my life. By being introduced to show choir, I learned that you still have to work hard on things that seem easy if you want to succeed, because talent is nothing without hard work. To put it shortly, Ms. Sermershein, you've helped me grow into the person that I am today. You've introduced me to my greatest fears, passions, and dreams. As a little 7th grader, I would have never thought that I would be who I am now because of all the things you've exposed me to. Because of you, I was introduced to show choir, which will now always be part of me that I will always remember. Most importantly, thank you for letting me feel like I could be so much more than what I thought. For all of that, I thank you. Thank you so much for your help in everything that has now become me.
Hi, I'm Jaclyn Mahon, and the teacher I'm honoring today is my technical theater director, Miss Greene. Hey Greene, it's weird to think about how far we've come since the beginning of my sophomore year, isn't it? You started as a new teacher here, and none of us in tech offered you a very warm reception because we only saw you as a replacement for Nemo. However, we couldn't have been more wrong. I'm so lucky to have this chance to honor you for having such a significant impact on my life, because I would not be the same person I am today if you hadn't come along to the Performing Arts Center. It is very easy for me to be myself while in tech and theater, and for that I will forever be grateful. In the past, I never really knew what I wanted to do with my future, but after taking your technical theater class, I know that I want to go to college for theater design and technology. I'm excited for my future in technical theater and to make an impact on people's lives like you have on mine. Although I don't foresee a teaching career in my future, I want you to know that if it weren't for you, I honestly don't think I would have my future planned out yet. I have a never-ending appreciation for all that you do for us, and I am so lucky to have you in my life these past 2 years. I can't wait to see what next year has in store for all of us in tech, and I know that no matter what problems we might face, we will make it through them because we have you as our teacher.
Hi, I'm Marietta Williams, and I'm a junior. Did you hear about the kidnapping at school? Don't worry, he woke up. You may be wondering why I just told such a terrible joke, and that's when I explained why I nominated my coach and teacher, Mr. Miller. From coaching me during cross-country and track season since my freshman year to finally now having him as a psychology teacher, I've heard my share of bad puns and learned many valuable lessons. I've been taught that I can handle more than I know, that I have a team of supporters, and that I don't have to stress over every little thing. Psychology class and practice has scarred me for life. I will always salivate when I hear the name Sigmund Freud. I will never forget the number 33, and I will never try to bake a cookie on the sidewalk. I'm no longer the quiet, shy kid on the team or in the classroom. I have a voice. Thanks, Mr. Miller. You the bomb.
Before freshman year, I was never very politically aware or involved. I didn't really carry any opinions of my own. I simply believed what my parents did because I didn't feel like I needed to know more. When my brother told me to get the skim so I could give current events for Salemi's class, it was probably the first time I willingly read the news. I found out the world was much more interesting than I gave it credit for. Since then, I've become much more aware of what is happening in the world around me, and I'm much more well-informed. Thank you, Salemi, for giving me opportunities to become a better, more aware person. When you invited me to Munich freshman year, I didn't really know what it was about. I did all the reading I could find, and I wrote my position paper, but I was still quite unprepared for committee. I was nervous and terrified of the idea of speaking in front of hundreds of people. The first day, I didn't speak to anyone other than Bowman and Anna from Tuvalu, who sat next to us and was just as nervous as we were. However, after committee, you told the two of us to just speak. It didn't matter if it went well, or if we stuttered through it, or if we even made any real points. We just needed to talk, and the rest could come later. That's been incredibly helpful to me over the years. I'm still not the most eloquent, and I still get incredibly nervous when speaking in front of a large group of people, but I do speak. Thank you so much, Salemi, for giving me these opportunities to better myself and to become more aware of the world. Thank you for guaranteeing something interesting and or fun every single day. I can't recall a single day in your class that was anything less. Thank you for teaching not just about history, but about rattlesnakes or the experience of working in the back line of a restaurant or the 1,000 other anecdotes that you've told that I've remembered for 3 years. Thank you for everything.
Dalstrom, surprise! I chose you. It only made sense that I would choose you because this year, if I'm not in your class, I'm seeing you at rehearsals. The year started out pretty strong with Into the Woods. Where do I start with The Woods? I started out as a student assistant director and eventually became a part of the cast for 2 of the 4 performances. It meant a lot that you trusted me with the responsibility of stepping in and taking a role. I never planned on being in the musical, but things happened, and you trusted me to fill in the space. I've also realized that I now associate times in my life with what show I was doing at the time. Next was The Odd Couple. Emma and I put so much time and effort into that scene, and it was over like that. However, you also put much of your effort and time into our scene. You helped us build the comedy up, and it taught me a thing or two about comedic timing. Haha, get it? You also challenged me to play a character that was a little off for me. I played a neat freak, and I can guarantee you that I am as far from a neat freak as one can get. The most recent, and my favorite, was And Then They Came For Me. This is probably my favorite production I've worked on. You and Kay were at auditions, and it made me extremely nervous. However, in the end, you and Kay trusted me with playing the lead, and I could never thank either of you enough for what you did. You also helped me with that horse monologue, which sounds weird to people who have no clue what I'm talking about. Thanks again for being an awesome person and teacher. Your class is the most fun I have all day. I have lots of laughs, but I know that I can always come to you for help when I need it. Thanks.
Hello, I'm Geovanni Ortiz. Someone once said, leadership is not about a title or a designation. It's about impact, influence, and inspiration. Impact involves getting results, influence is about spreading the passion you have for your work, and inspiring is about getting others to do good in the world. There are very few people in this world that you will encounter that can have this influence over you. For me, this person, now in a strong leadership role as a principal at East Ridge Elementary, was also my leader and guide in a classroom at IPS School 93 in the kindergarten back in 2006. Mrs. Johnson is this amazing person that has impacted my life greatly, even if she doesn't remember me from when I was a snotty-nosed, loud, and energetic elementary kid. Someone had asked me if I was nominating my kindergarten teacher to do that whole "this is where it all started" cliche speech. But in fact, it's more than just that. Well, actually, it is just that, but in a very different and impacting way. See, at that time, I had just returned to the US after living in Mexico for 4 years. My tiny world had greatly shifted as I was introduced into a new environment that I had only known as an infant for no more than a few months. The cultural barrier that stood between me and success seemed almost impossible to overcome. I had no knowledge of a single English word, let alone any knowledge about the American culture and schooling system. As mentioned in the personal letter to Mrs. Johnson, I recall going into the building the first day of kindergarten, not knowing where I was going. I ended up in a first grade classroom with another admirable teacher, Mrs. Hall. For that whole week, I was in her class, and she wondered why I would cry every single time she called on me. Well, as you might have figured it out, I had no idea what she was saying to me. After this, I was eventually placed in Mrs. Johnson's care. I do not know what it was about her, but she made me feel comfortable and safe in her room, even if I still didn't understand her one bit. Teachers have the hardest job ever because educating the future of this world is no easy task. Not only that, but there are teachers who find themselves having to adapt to their teaching ways to reach out to foreign language speakers. So, as it turned out, I had quite a bright little brain up there that Mrs. Johnson, among others, helped jumpstart. Thanks to the environment in Mrs. Johnson's classroom, and thanks to the English Language Learners Program, I was able to overcome the language barriers, achieving one small step towards success. In her classroom, I gained the confidence that I needed to succeed. Mrs. Johnson demonstrated an incredible passion for teaching that was unlike no other. She was kind and caring to every one of her students, listening to what we had to say and engaging in conversation with us. My parents were especially pleased seeing the amazing job Mrs. Johnson had done, getting me caught up to speed in this country of limitless opportunities. She truly had inspired me to work hard and helped my interest in school grow. I was always excited to get to school the next day and take on a new challenge. I can firmly say that if it wasn't for Mrs. Johnson, I would truly not be here today. I am so thankful for having met such an incredible person that has helped me reach the success that others can only dream of. Even today, that success will only continue to grow as I strive to make a difference in the world, keeping amazing people like Mrs. Johnson in my thoughts as motivation and inspiration.
Hi, I'm Hillary Gordon, and I chose Senor Gomez. Senor Gomez, thank you for being such a great teacher. You're always putting on the most into your teaching. I have already learned so much in your class, and am so grateful for all that you have done. In class, we always start off with saying the Warrior Creed, which is interesting. But I love the Noticia del Día y las adivinanzas que hacemos porque they are always starting off my morning with happiness. I love it when people say really bad guesses. In particular, I liked when the riddle was about something that flew without feathers or a heart, and Evan guessed jellyfish. You're always willing to hear people's explanations of their answers and give them starbursts for their work. The amount of starbursts you give out is ridiculous. I've been questioning for the whole year whether you say S-starbursts or just starbursts. I'm not sure how much money you spend on starbursts, but your positive reinforcement can put a smile on anyone's face. You're always so generous in bringing us food and letting us try rosca y cosas así. My favorite day of Spanish class thus far has been when Sebastián did Noticia del Día. You looked shocked as he drew two ugly twins on the board that had little to nothing to contribute to the story he was telling, yet you let him do it. He even pulled up his favorite triplet-related telenovelas. In total, I appreciate you so much, and I'm extremely glad you're my teacher. You always remind me to put a smile on my face and not to stress out. You're willing to admit to your mistakes and be extremely honest with your students. Thank you for all the positive attitude and making us speak more. Because I have become more fluent in Spanish, I've also enjoyed speaking it more. All of your hard work makes inspired and dedicated students. Please continue what you're doing for students to come.
My name is Collin Denny and I'm a junior. In years prior, I've padded these videos with stories and a lot of praise, but this top 10 event is long enough already, so I'll just cut to the chase. The teacher that I've chosen to honor is Mr. Hanson, whose class I've taken every year of my high school career thus far. I think it's pretty clear as to why I chose to honor Mr. Hanson, as he's been a good teacher for me and everyone else in our engineering class. And for that, I'd like to thank him. Since freshman year, he's helped me learn more about engineering and has helped me narrow down what types of engineering I do and do not like. He's never hesitated to give me help when I needed it, and I think that's something to be proud of. That's pretty much all I have to say. Overall, he's been a great help throughout the entirety of my high school career, and all that I want to say is that Mr. Hanson has been a very important and helpful part of my education for the past 3 years, and for that I'd like to thank him.
My name is Karli Valencia. The teacher that I chose to honor is Kermit, also known as Mr. Elliot with 2 T's, Lentz, who is one of my band directors. I was very nervous going into this past marching band season because I had never done a solo before in my life. And you and Mr. Eck has put this pressure on me to do the solo during the ballad of our show. And it was on a completely different instrument that I had to play with such little hands. I really appreciated that you took the time to help me improve on the solo throughout the season. Many people told me that I did a great job, and it was because you sought to help me get better each competition. You also believed in me whenever I complained about not being able to play that notorious F sharp, which helped boost my confidence. I'm also not one to try new things, but you helped me venture out of my comfort zone. I had no intention of joining an honor band during high school because I feel uncomfortable around people I don't know. However, you convinced me to join the all-district band this past fall simply because you would be the conductor. I ended up having a really good time there, more so than in band here sometimes. I wish you could be our conductor more often because I always admire your conducting style. Your enthusiasm passes over to the players, which makes us want to be more excited about playing and put more emotion into our music. Even though we band kids don't say it that often, we really do appreciate that you try so hard. So thank you for everything that you have done to help me in my musical journey. Even though I possibly won't pursue a career in music, you have made a long-lasting impact on me.